As he slowly opened his eyes, he felt disoriented and confused by his unfamiliar surroundings. But his confusion quickly turned to shock as he realized he was emitting a beastly growl instead of his own voice. A female disciple approached, asking the red-robed girl what was going on. The girl explained that the mysterious beast they had caught earlier had gone crazy. He couldn't believe what had just happened. He remembered playing a game at home, but now he was in an unknown place and in an unfamiliar body. Was he dead and reincarnated into a different world? As he pondered this, a beautiful girl approached him. Suddenly, he heard a ding in a system notification, host detected, preparing for activation. He was surprised and confused, not understanding what was happening. A screen appeared in front of him, prompting him to select a host. Upon seeing the child profile, he realized it was the same girl who was outside the cage. He focused his attention on the profile, and a status window for the girl appeared as if by magic. The girl's name was Bong-yeon, and seeing the familiar status screen from the Fate chess game came as a shock to him. It could only mean that he had reincarnated into the game he played earlier. The voice prompted him to choose a partner, warning of self-destruction mode if he failed. As a system now, the beast knew he had to accept the truth and choose a partner, but he didn't know how to proceed. Bong-yeon turned to leave, and the voice warned that self-destruction mode would activate if she left the requirement area. The countdown began, and the beast's soul was filled with terror. He needed to act fast to avoid disappearing. With desperation in his voice, he called out to the pretty girl outside the cage, begging her to come back. The girl turned around and asked who was speaking to her, and the beast revealed itself as the one talking. The girl approached the cage and was surprised to hear the beast speaking human language. The beast then praised the girl, stating that she was a genius and perfect for cultivation, and that their meeting must be fate. He then promised to give her a blessing. Excitedly, the girl thought that the beast might offer her some legendary skill books or items in exchange for saving him. However, her trust was shattered when the beast's true nature was revealed to her. She stated that his kind had been deceitful and untrustworthy for many years, and that her senior wanted to use him as an ingredient. She was sorry, but she couldn't risk his wrath if something went wrong. The beast was terrified at the mention of being used as an ingredient and thought that he might die soon. The girl felt pity for the beast and gifted him a bottle of intensive poison, which she had prepared for herself. She apologized to the beast and left him alone in the cage. Just when the beast thought that it was the end for him and that the self-destruct mode would activate, he heard the voice once again. The voice detected that the host was leaving and the self-destruction mode would activate, but something unexpected happened. The beast was surprised to see the poison bottle he had acquired in the game appear in front of him. Meanwhile, the girl wore a sad expression, and an arrogant-looking man approached and shouted at her. The girl, named Bong-yeon, was taken aback by the manager's sudden appearance. He demanded to know why she didn't accompany Senior Lai when he asked her to yesterday. She attempted to explain that she had other obligations, but he cut her off mid-sentence and slapped her, accusing her of insubordination. The manager boasted that Senior Lai was a top disciple and that Bong-yeon should be proud to accompany him. She retorted that Senior Lai wanted to use her as a mere tool to warm his bed and then dispose of her as an ingredient to further his cultivation. The manager was taken aback and asked how she knew the truth. The manager's perverted gaze lingered on her body as he spoke, saying that being an outer disciple meant she was powerless and only useful for pleasing Senior Lai in bed. The girl pushed his hand away as he tried to touch her and asserted her own pride, demanding that he respect her boundaries. But the manager's anger only grew, and he struck her again. This time, the girl managed to block the blow with her arms, but was still forced back a few steps. The manager sneered, mocking her lack of ability and daring to talk back to him. Feeling helpless, the girl decided to give the bottle of poison she had prepared for herself to the small beast. But the manager just laughed, saying that Senior Lai always got what he wanted and that the girl was nothing more than a dog to him. If she obeyed, she would avoid torture, but if not, she would suffer even more. He attacked her again, this time with more force, intending to knock her out. The girl found herself unable to block the fast-moving hand and felt helpless until a calm voice spoke to her from the left side, instructing her to move 2 steps forward and dodge. Though surprised, she followed the instructions instinctively and avoided the blow. The manager grew angry and claimed it was a fluke, preparing to strike again. Once more, the voice guided her movements, telling her to bend over, move ahead, and step forward. She continued to dodge the manager's attacks until she finally cornered him. The manager was shocked at the level of skill displayed by the girl, and she too wondered how she had become so adept just by following the mysterious voice's instructions. The manager became flustered and accused the girl of having some powerful figure backing her up, given her sudden improvement in combat skills. The girl calmly told him to stop and forget about the matter. However, the manager refused and warned her that even if he backed off, Senior Lai would not. He left as the girl was left alone. Wondering who had helped her, she called out to her savior and asked them to reveal themselves. Suddenly, a familiar voice spoke to her, calling her a pretty girl and asking if she had forgotten them already. It was the same beast she had encountered earlier, now out of its cage and shining brightly. The girl was taken aback when she saw the beast emerge from its cage, claiming that it had consumed the medicine she had given it, causing it to glow with a golden light. However, her confusion was short-lived as she suddenly felt a sharp pain, realizing that the so-called medicine was actually poison. She couldn't make sense of what was happening. The beast noticed her distress and looked at the screen in front of it, which displayed the message "Gave you her last pride." From now on, you could transfer your thought to her and talk to her in mind. As you ate poison, you gain poison resistance and can eat poisonous food. The beast then explained to the girl that it was just a shadow clone of itself, created to communicate with her. The beast had lied to the girl to keep the system functionality a secret. However, the girl was overwhelmed with gratitude towards the unknown beast who had saved her. She asked if he was okay and the beast chuckled, assuring her that he was unharmed. The girl then released the magical cage and expressed her gratitude to the beast, pleading with him to leave before the sex people found and harmed him. The beast questioned what would happen to her if he left. The girl replied with determination, saying that she had already offended Senior Lai and the sect would come after her anyway. The beast resolved to stall the sex people and buy her some time to escape. He urged her to run away as quickly as possible. The beast declared that he would not let anyone die under his watch. He challenged Senior Lai, saying that he would show him the consequences of his actions. He then asked the girl if she believed him, and she nodded in agreement. Meanwhile, the manager made his way into a luxurious hall, sweating profusely. There was a man sitting on a high platform in a fancy chair, surrounded by several beautiful women. This man was Senior Lai, notorious for his lecherous behavior. Upon hearing the report, he frowned and commented on the girl's refusal to obey his orders. The woman sitting on his lap spoke up in a jealous tone. The man sneered, "She's just a lowly outer disciple. Who does she think she is? Summon her immediately. She should feel honored to receive my order." He grabbed the woman's cheeks in a cold, predatory manner and continued, "I like those kind of women. The more they resist, the more they excite me. It becomes more fun to break them." The woman was left trembling after being thrown off the platform. Senior Lai emitted an intimidating aura as he declared that if she wouldn't come to him, he would go to her secret training spot hidden in the mountains. Wu Fen had told the beast about this hidden location, where he could rest and stay hidden for the time being. Lying on the bed with a satisfied expression, the beast suddenly remembered the main mission displayed on the system window to prevent a disaster from occurring. It dawned on him that this could be the legendary epic rank mission that every player aspired to complete. No one knew when or how the disaster would strike. This disaster mission was despised by all the players. It included demon invasions, monster hordes, divine interventions, and even the resurrection of demon gods. The chaos that would ensue was overwhelming, and the beast felt scared and helpless, struggling to find a way to survive. Suddenly, he heard a melodious voice calling out to him, "Little thing, I have prepared a medicinal bath. Come, let's bathe together." The girl's words and her presence stirred something within him, reminding him of his manly emotions from his past life on Earth. He gladly accepted the offer and submerged himself in the hot, soothing bath. But noticing the sadness in Aang's expression, he asked her what was wrong. The girl emerged from the river and the beast asked if she was worried about Senior Lai. She replied that she didn't doubt her benefactor's words, but she feared disappointing him because Senior Lai was extremely powerful and cruel. The beast reminded her that she had previously mentioned that Senior Lai was 2 levels above her in terms of power. He then began thinking about cultivation, a training method in the game Fate Chess that could increase one's strength. There were 10 stages of cultivation in the game Fate Chess. Aang, being only an outer disciple, was at the beginner stage. In contrast, Senior Lai had already reached the elite stage, which was the 3rd stage for outer sect disciples. The sect only taught trash or below average cultivation and fighting techniques to outer disciples, while high-ranked techniques were only available to inner disciples. The beast had seen Aang's status and knew how talented she was. If only she were an inner disciple, she would undoubtedly be at the top. He then cursed the power that reincarnated him as a system since it had not provided him with any fighting or cultivation techniques. The beast quickly got up and noticed that it was the scent of a love potion. He looked at Aang and saw that she was blushing and acting strange. The beast realized that someone had cast a love spell on her. He quickly used his knowledge of the game to figure out a way to break the spell. He then chanted an incantation and sprinkled some magical dust on Aang, breaking the love spell. Aang looked at the beast with gratitude and thanked him for saving her. The beast felt a sense of relief and was glad that he could help her. He then realized that they needed to be careful as someone was trying to harm them. They needed to figure out who was behind this and stop them before it was too late. The beast's expression shifted and he quickly instructed the girl to cover her nose and run outside. A man with a lascivious look stood outside the house and spoke with anger. He accused the girl of rejecting his invitation and releasing a spiritual beast that he intended to use as an ingredient. He threatened to punish her, but promised to be gentle in a mocking tone. The girl recognized the man as Senior Lai and became frightened. However, the beast assured her that everything would be okay as long as she followed his instructions. Senior Lai opened the door and introduced the mist, explaining that it was called an erotic mist that would enhance their enjoyment. Upon the door's opening, Bu Feng launched a swift attack with her sword, aiming it directly at Senior Lai. Although he was taken aback, he managed to dodge it with ease, being significantly stronger than her. Bu Feng couldn't help but be grateful for the technique taught to her by the beast, which allowed her to catch Senior Lai off guard and avoid a direct confrontation. Despite not being affected by the erotic mist, she was still not strong enough to defeat him. Unsheathing his sword, he prepared to retaliate against her. However, despite blocking his first strike, Bu Feng struggled to hold her ground against his superior power. Senior Lai quickly launched another attack, this time aiming for her mask. Upon seeing Bu Feng's unmasked face, Senior Lai chuckled and expressed his surprise at her proficiency in utilizing the outer sect techniques. He acknowledged her as a unique individual, but his admiration was short-lived as she suddenly began to cough, a clear symptom of being poisoned by the mist. Worried, the beast promptly checked her status window and confirmed that she had indeed been affected by the erotic poison, leaving her with only 10 seconds before fainting. Senior Lai praised Bu Feng's talent and perseverance, but ultimately recognized the insurmountable gap in their power levels. With that, he launched his attack, cracking the sea in waves, forcing Bu Feng to grit her teeth and defend against it. Upon hearing, Bu Feng described the technique as high level. The man chuckled and confirmed that it was indeed reserved for inner sect disciples. Suddenly, Bu Feng was overcome with pain in her chest, caused by the erotic poison. Her body began to shake and her sword felt like a burden. Taking advantage of her weakened state, the man flashed a perverted smile and offered to take over her efforts. The beast grew anxious, realizing the power discrepancy between Bu Feng and her opponent. The man pushed Bu Feng away with his attack before launching another strike, causing her to fear for her safety. As Senior Lai prepared to launch another attack, the beast intervened, altering the trajectory of the strike. In the process, however, the beast sustained severe injuries and collapsed onto the ground. Bu Feng was overcome with emotion, but the beast managed to stand up again. Senior Lai was taken aback by the beast's unexpected interference, expressing his surprise at the creature's willingness to defend Bu Feng. Despite Aang's protests, Senior Lai continued to taunt her, stating that her resistance only fueled his excitement. He then turned his attention to the beast, warning him that Bu Feng's protection would come at a steep price. The beast advised Bu Feng to refrain from making impulsive decisions and listen to him closely. He instructed her to use the flex step technique, allowing her to evade Senior Lai's next attack. The man was shocked, dismissing it as a coincidence, and launched another strike. This time, the beast advised Bu Feng to use horizontal steel, blocking the attack with ease. Taking advantage of the opening, Bu Feng employed her slanting moon technique, successfully shattering Senior Lai's sword. The man was stunned by Bu Feng's sudden display of unpredictability and adaptability. He couldn't believe that she was able to dodge his attacks while also being poisoned. This was all thanks to the beast's skills, which had allowed him to sense danger and predict the opponent's moves. The man acknowledged that he had underestimated her and declared that he would use his full power to defeat her, regardless of whether she lived or died. But despite his efforts, Bu Feng continued to dodge his attacks with her instincts, adapting to the fight as it progressed. Finally, she saw an opening and unleashed a fierce attack, injuring the man gravely. She was panting and exhausted from the previous exchange, but the beast urged her to press on. He checked her stats and realized that she only had 10 seconds left before collapsing from the poison. With time ticking down, the fight continued, and Bu Feng pushed herself to the limit, determined to emerge victorious. The beast rejoiced as he realized that his efforts had paid off. He had successfully guided Bu Feng to victory, and now they were about to unlock new abilities. With only 3 seconds left, she was on the verge of losing consciousness. In a hurry, the beast handed her a liquid and urged her to drink it. By doing so, she managed to detoxify herself from the poison just before the deadline. Checking on her well-being, the beast asked how she felt. The girl responded positively, feeling much better. The beast was delighted to see that his blood had worked, but suddenly he felt a sharp pain. The girl comforted him and promised to search for a remedy. Eventually, she dressed his wound and managed to stop the bleeding. Suddenly, they heard loud noises and the girl informed him that it was time to wake up. They needed to depart immediately. The beast was perplexed and asked for an explanation. The girl clarified that each inner disciple had a lamp fire in the main hall, which would go out if the disciple died. Moreover, the lamp fire could also provide the last known location of the owner. Therefore, it was crucial for them to leave at once. Suddenly, the ground shook, and an elderly man named Fngbu, who was a prominent figure in the sword hall, landed with a loud thud. He had a distressed expression and quickly noticed that his disciple was dead. Filled with anger, he used his spell to destroy the building. However, he soon realized that the perpetrator might have already fled the scene. In the meantime, a disciple rushed in and informed the old man about his findings. The elder inquired if he had discovered anything significant. The disciple bowed respectfully and replied that he had heard rumors about Brother Lai showing interest in an outer disciple named Aang and visiting her on that day. The elder asked if he knew anything about the girl. The disciple responded that he had never heard of her before. The elder was bewildered as to how an outer disciple could defeat one of the strongest inner disciples. It was evident that a third party must have been involved, someone who had conspired with Aang to harm his beloved disciple. His demeanor turned cold as he issued a command to his disciples: "Follow my orders. Pursue and eliminate the murderer or anyone who appears suspicious." The disciple was taken aback by the command. If the person who killed Senior Lai, who was an expert, was above that level, how could they possibly win the fight? The elder reiterated that anyone providing information leading to the killer's capture would receive a reward of 500 spirit stone. while those participating in the murderer's elimination would receive a spirit treasure as compensation. Furthermore, the person who captures the culprit would be recognized as a hero by the elder. The man was astonished to hear about these rewards, as they were incredibly tempting. Eddie was willing to risk his life just to participate because the rewards were too good to pass up. The prospect of obtaining a spirit treasure could help him advance to the next level of cultivation. The next day, Eddie agreed to join the search party, and everyone was busy searching for the girl and her accomplices. They discussed among themselves that it would be impossible for her to escape. Suddenly, one of the disciples found a girl and a beast with her. He shouted, "I have finally found her." Everyone became ecstatic upon hearing this news. They realized that they would become wealthy by capturing them. On the other hand, the girl and the beast remained calm and chatted happily with each other. The disciple frowned upon seeing this but then smirked and asked them to surrender if they wanted to avoid any pain. The girl ignored the disciples' babbling and took out her weapon. The disciples smiled and boasted that they were all inner disciples, while she was just an outer disciple. They claimed that if they drew their swords, she wouldn't stand a chance against them. The girl and the beast both responded in unison, "Then why don't you try it?" After a while, all the disciples were lying on the ground, injured. The girl stood there with her sword, victorious. The beast was still amazed at how she had taken care of them so effortlessly. He smiled and thought that it was all thanks to the new feature tab on his screen. After she had defeated Senior Lai, 2 high-grade sword arts were unlocked, and he learned them both. He optimized his fighting style by incorporating these new techniques, which helped them win the battle. The girl, Bufang, kneeled down and expressed her gratitude towards the beast for his guidance. She was thrilled that even the most basic attacks he taught her became formidable. She asked if this was the difference between ordinary people and martial arts masters. The beast felt a bit embarrassed by her praise. Suddenly, the girl sat down in a meditative position and absorbed all the energy around her. After a while, she opened her eyes and exclaimed happily that she had broken through to the next level, all thanks to the beast's guidance. The beast was amazed by her progress and thought to himself that this girl truly deserved to be the protagonist with her exceptional talent. The beast then advised her to increase her combat power, but before he could finish his sentence, they both sensed a strong energy fluctuation and turned around to see an old man. The beast was caught off guard. Bufang recognized the old man as Deacon Lin, responsible for overseeing the practice of disciples in the intersect. She warned the beast about his strength, but a wounded disciple laughed and revealed that Deacon Lin and Elder Fang were close friends until she killed Elder Fang. The disciple also warned Bufang that Deacon Lin would not let her off easily. Deacon Lin then attacked Bufang with his sword imbued with eerie energy, catching her off guard and injuring her instantly. He casually remarked that he had heard rumors about the culprit being strong, but it seemed like nothing more than empty talk. The beast observed the fight between Bufang and Deacon Lin and noticed that she was putting up a good fight, despite being overpowered. He marveled at her skills and determination. Meanwhile, back at the sect, Elder Feng asked one of the disciples about the progress of the investigation. The disciple reported that Deacon Lin had found Bufang and was currently engaged in a fight with her. Elder Feng expressed confidence in Deacon Lin's abilities and said that he was assured if it was he. Meanwhile, the fight between Bufang and Deacon Lin continued in the forest. The old man was surprised to see that she was able to use basic swordsmanship to such a high degree and even better than Lei Shen. He also noted that her cultivation had improved significantly, indicating her excellent talent. The old man's expression turned cold as he questioned the girl, "Are you colluding with outsiders to harm our sect?" The girl immediately replied, "It was Senior Lai who wanted to force me, so I had to resist." Undeterred by her words, the old man attacked again with even more power than before, leaving the girl with no option but to block his attack with her sword. The beast, however, received a notification at this moment, a task to teach Bufang some martial arts tricks regardless of Deacon Lin's area. Initially confused by the task, the beast soon realized that Lin Gu was Deacon Lin's name. He wondered if the old man was actually kind-hearted despite his tough exterior, and whether he was trying to teach Bufang some new skills. Suddenly, the girl heard the beast's voice and turned towards him. The girl, Bufang, carefully observed the old man's moves as the beast advised her to do. She realized that this could be a great opportunity for her to learn the intersect martial arts. She erupted with tremendous fighting spirit and surprised the old man. He realized that she had figured out his earlier move, and even though the power was not much, the fact that she could copy a move in such a short time under so much pressure was commendable. He thought to himself that she had already surpassed 90% of the disciples in the sect. The girl realized that the beast's advice was right, and she found it much easier to observe Deacon Lin's moves, which seemed predictable. She praised the beast for his guidance. Meanwhile, the beast was pleased to see a notification on his screen confirming that the host had accepted and completed the task, and a reward would be given. The injured disciple who witnessed Bufang's fight with Deacon Lin was shocked that she could keep up with him for more than 10 moves. The beast told him to be quiet. Suddenly, a voice whispered in the beast's ear, notifying him that the task had been completed. The beast was thrilled as he checked the rewards. The beast was ecstatic upon seeing the reward, 1,000-star pendant with a one-click optimization feature. Although he had no idea what it meant, he thought it looked cool and immediately clicked yes. However, the screen suddenly changed, and a new message appeared: acquire host-exclusive skill, transformation. Just then, an elder appeared in a fit of anger, shouting at Deacon Lin. Elder Feng appeared frightened, and suddenly, a voice commanded them to stop. Everyone turned to see a man with a cold face and several disciples standing behind him. The girl was shocked to see that it was the headmaster. Elder Feng demanded to know who was speaking out, but the beast replied with a smirk that it was he. The old man was taken aback and exclaimed, "Wasn't he the cub we were going to use as an ingredient? How can he even speak?" To his surprise, the beast replied with a smile, stating that he was no ordinary cub. He didn't finish his sentence before transforming into a human right before their eyes. The beast possessed the ability to transform into any human form he could imagine, but it required spiritual power to sustain it. The beast had transformed into a human wearing the exact same clothes he had on when he was on Earth. One of the disciples found the attire strange and commented on it, but the other quickly silenced him, stating that it was not important. Elder Feng grew concerned, realizing that a demon beast transforming into a human was an unprecedented occurrence. The boy pondered, who is he? Realizing the delicacy of the situation, he quickly reviewed all the information he had gathered about their sect on the system screen and crafted a plausible story. He decided to assert his superiority and began bragging. "Even the founder of your sect, Chu, respectfully addresses me as master. Who do you think you are to shout at me?" As Eldering's arrogance got the best of him, he charged towards the boy in a fit of rage, accusing him of lying. His attack was deadly, intending to kill. However, the boy remained composed, picked up a nearby sword belonging to the injured disciple, and swiftly blocked the attack. The bystanders were amazed by his skill. The bystanders identified the pendant as the 1,000-star pendant, but the headmaster revealed that its power surpassed that of the original. They wondered if the boy was related to the sect's ancestor, since only he possessed the knowledge to imbue such strength into the pendant. Disappointed, the boy remarked that he never expected the Ku disciples and their descendants to be so weak. He feared that the sect would decline under their leadership. The room fell silent as everyone absorbed the boy's words. Finally, the headmaster spoke up, instructing everyone to show his or her respect to the senior. He bowed to the boy himself, acknowledging his wisdom. After a while, the headmaster invited the boy to take a seat in the unpavilion. After spending some time in the unpavilion, the headmaster offered the boy a seat. The girl was taken aback by the grandeur of the hall as it fell within the intersect area. As an outer sect disciple, she never expected to have the opportunity to see it. The headmaster politely invited both of them to sit down. The girl was surprised by the sudden display of respect from the other intersect members. Some disciples were envious and resentful. Then the boy asked a question. "Your surname is the same as the founder. Are you his descendant?" The headmaster quickly responded that he did not dare to make such a claim. It was merely a coincidence that the younger generation happened to share the same name as the ancestor. As the game progressed, the boy recalled that the headmaster had already been deceased. The character's description was brief, and he wasn't particularly significant. Suddenly, the headmaster spoke up. "I don't know why SR came to our sect." The boy immediately realized that they must never discover the truth and concocted a new story. While practicing, the boy explained that something had gone awry and his meridians were damaged. He remembered that an old friend had established a nearby sect and sought refuge there to recover. The old friend he referred to was actually their sect's ancestor. Upon realizing this, the headmaster quickly apologized. The beast cursed Elder Feng for his rudeness and disrespect towards him. Meanwhile, the beast's confident demeanor increasingly excited the girl. The headmaster addressed the girl, expressing how fortunate she was to have been spoken to by the sect's predecessor. He attributed her rapid cultivation to this encounter, but the boy interjected, stating that her talent was the main reason for her advancement. The headmaster then humbly bowed and acknowledged their earlier presumption, apologizing for not properly extending an invitation. Now that the beast was present, he would be treated as a distinguished guest. The boy then smiled and reverted to his beast form. As soon as he transformed, he exclaimed, "Quit to the system." The bystanders were perplexed by the unfamiliar word and couldn't comprehend its meaning. The headmaster urgently instructed his disciples to promptly arrange lodging for the senior. The disciples swiftly departed, and as the day wore on, nightfall arrived. In the headmaster's chamber, a disciple informed him that accommodations for the senior had been secured. The headmaster instructed the disciple to leave first as he would be arriving later. After the disciple departed and closed the door, the headmaster whispered to a shadowy figure, expressing gratitude to Deacon Lin for providing time and opportunities for their sect. If they could prolong the senior's stay in their sect, it would be advantageous for their future. As it turned out, the shadowy figure was Deacon Lin himself. He revealed that he had already assessed Buing's talent and found it to be exceptional, even surpassing Tian's. If the senior were to groom her, his or her sect would acquire another formidable cultivator. However, the headmaster interjected, mentioning that Fang Bu wouldn't let the matter go after his disciple's death. He urged Deacon Lin to restrain Fang Bu for the time being. Suddenly, a loud cry echoed from outside, causing both of them to become alert. Deacon Lin expressed his intent to investigate but was unable to finish his sentence. The entrance gate was shattered open, and Fang Fengjibu appeared, cackling as he greeted Lin Gu. "I regarded you as a brother, but I never imagined that you would become the headmaster's lapdog." Upon seeing him, they were both taken aback, but what was more alarming was the sight behind him, for it was the most loathed enemy of humanity. As the demons attacked, one of the sectarians fought back until suddenly, the demons were torn apart and Bu and his team appeared. Sister Zhu was requested by Bu Feng to assess the condition of the fallen brothers. A gathering to combat the demons was made possible by the efforts of the eldest and Sister Bu. However, the process of converting from plug-in to human drained the protagonist. Just then, there was a sudden explosion in the main sect's chambers. The sect leader informed Fang Jin that he was unworthy of leading the sect due to his feeble abilities. The sect's council erred in appointing him. In a swift turn of events, a demon impaled the sect leader with his sword, but Bu Feng intervened and fatally wounded the demon from behind. Due to the murder of the previous sect leader, nobody expected Bu Fengyan to be chosen as the new head of the sect. However, the timing couldn't have been better as the protagonist had just unlocked the new achievement system feature, earning the head of cult achievement. While seated, Bu and an elder contemplated the recent events. The elder acknowledged that Bu's skills were impressive enough to exact revenge on the murderer of the former head of the sect. There was unanimous agreement within the sect for Bu to take the position of the head. However, Bu herself admitted that it may have been due to the influence of her patron rather than her own merits. Suddenly, a disciple interrupted with news that another disciple, Feng Buho, had taken advantage of the confusion and escaped from Mount. Feng was a traitor, and his current whereabouts were unknown. The elder expressed concern that if Feng Buho was working in conjunction with the demons, it would be challenging to defend against such a formidable foe. To aid in their efforts, Bu's benefactor bestowed the sacred Yuanji protective formation upon her, a powerful defensive skill categorized as a mysterious class protective formation. When combined with an Earth-class mountain defensive formation, the demons would find it difficult to penetrate. However, the sect lacked the materials required to set up the protective formation, so they dispatched someone to the nearest array pavilion branch to procure the necessary items. Upon arriving at the pavilion of arrays, the group was met with an unfriendly reception. The guild administered tests to individuals aspiring to become spellcasters, but when our heroes disclosed their origin, the spellcasters grew impatient with their requests. Unfortunately, one of the spellcasters attempted to strike a commoner, but one of the heroes intervened and slowed down the caster's arm. At this point, the destiny system emerged and requested a decision. As the conflict ensued, Zhu Bohong, the master of formations, appeared on the scene. With his tough demeanor, he seemed capable of instigating further disruption. Perplexed by the situation, Zhu Bohong sought clarification and requested an explanation. The arrival of Master Zhu at the scene left everyone stunned, as he was known for his superiority over others and had previously treated ordinary people with disdain. As an elite caster in the main court, he had always taken pride in his status and had even disrespected those who dared to approach him. On a particular occasion, a young man had come to the court, seeking to become an elite caster. However, the receptionist not only turned him away but also mocked his audacity. To everyone's surprise, the young man was an accomplished spellcaster who demonstrated his mastery by performing 2 advanced spells. Consequently, he was recognized as a master and was promoted to the rank of elite caster. Master Zhu developed the ability to accurately read people and avoid misjudging them based on their appearance. When he assessed our heroes, he immediately sensed that they were from an uncommon place. Although one of the group members demonstrated a spell to him, he dismissed it as insignificant, as he had previously encountered it. In fact, he had seen this very quest while playing the game, which required players to gather materials for a formation. One of the girls in the group realized that the issue lay with the materials used for the spell. While raw jade was commonly used at home, the jade from the array pavilion was specially selected for its purity, resulting in the absence of some essential components in the spell. The solution was to mix common iron and copper with the purified jade, which eventually led to success. According to Master Zhu, altering the spell was beyond the capabilities of an average caster. Meanwhile, Guangling received a hit to the back of his head. The events had left everyone bewildered and unable to comprehend what had transpired. One of the spellcasters speculated that there had been an attempt at blackmail. The benefactor, sensing that something was amiss, underwent a transformation and emerged as a human. The sudden change left everyone stunned. The benefactor requested Master Zhu to arrange for a rune to examine the young man, to which Zhu consented. As the benefactor scrutinized the young man, he noticed signs of demon seed. When the benefactor inquired about the young man's identity, the sister revealed that his name was Guangling. Guangling was the first boss in the game, a human infected with demonic energy who became obsessed with grief after losing a loved one. Due to his high attack and agility, he was once known as the Rookie Oppressor, a formidable opponent. Sister Guangling implored the elder to aid her brother, and the benefactor decided to take the sister and brother under his wing to ensure their safety. The scene then shifted to the gates of the Shenaumen sect, where Bu expressed his gratitude to Zhu for helping set up the formation. Sister Guangling relayed that her brother's condition was currently under control, but it might worsen in the future. That was why the elder had taken them with him to treat him. The protagonist was now on the verge of embarking on the main quest to prevent the apocalypse, but he required 3 more members to complete his team. The protagonist believed that without an object of attachment, the connection with Guan Yu, Guanlin's sister, would remain inactive despite accepting her as a character. Unfortunately, her brother, Guangling, was not strong enough to join their team. Suddenly, a rumbling sound emerged from outside the door. The benefactor opened it and discovered Guan Yu and Guanlin, who were eager to clean. They expressed their gratitude to the elder for accepting them into the sect, but they had nothing to offer except for a pendant. The protagonist recognized the pendant as the blood jade of the Beast King, a magical treasure of the middle rank of the mysterious class. Such an object had only been found in Guangling's dungeon. Although not high grade, the pendant was suitable for all professions, and if the user was lucky, they could receive good attributes. The elder accepted the gift and sent the siblings off to train. The pendant proved to be top-notch in all attributes. Upon receiving the pendant, the first greatest treasure looted achievement was unlocked, and an attribute stone was rewarded. If the user received the explosive damage attribute, the bloody jade would be perfect. The elder secluded himself in his room and inserted the blast damage attribute into the pendant but could not reach 200%. Meanwhile, nearby factions were converging on Shenalmen with aggression brewing. In a fit of rage, one sect member attacked another, accusing the Shenalmen sect of collaborating with demons and attacking their faction. They had come to vanquish the Shenalmen sect, and after invading the property, they found it deserted except for our heroes who were practicing spells. Before the attackers could make a move, Master Zhu set up a defensive array that caught them off guard, and it turned out to be an ambush. The protagonists tried to reason with the invaders, but they remained skeptical of their intentions. Despite their efforts to break through the defensive array, Master Zhu intervened in the conversation, and a misunderstanding was eventually cleared up. It transpired that Feng Buho, along with the demons, had attacked other sects, and the rest had concluded that the entire Shenalmen sect was now in league with the demons. After the explanation, Zhu lifted the spell, but then one of the disciples arrived with news that another disciple had been severely injured. This led to the question of who was responsible, as it seemed impossible for one of the invaders to have colluded with a demonic beast. Mu took it upon himself to challenge the suspect. As the invaders revealed their identities, Zhao Yuobin, famously known as Wanjin's Palm, stepped forward. The elder remembered him as the first elite monster in Guanling's dungeon and one of his warriors. Despite his stoic demeanor, he was notorious for joining the demons as soon as he got the chance, much like Feng Buho. A duel ensued, and the spectators were in awe of Zhao's precious class martial arts, far superior to the other sect's lower 5-class martial arts. One of his improved martial arts even belonged to the luxurious middle 4 classes. Despite his impressive skills, Zhao fell to a piercing blow, and the invaders admitted defeat. After the confrontation, the elder retired to his room for some cultivation. When he returned, he encountered Guanlin, who was busy cleaning the courtyard. Guanling humbly offered his help, acknowledging his perceived uselessness. The elder hoped to guide him towards a better future, but his attention was diverted as he sensed a familiar aura. Master Zhu beckoned the elder to approach him. He informed him of a message from one of the spellcasters stationed in the array pavilion. The message revealed that the spellcaster witnessed demons gathering nearby, preparing to launch an attack on the sect. Without a moment's delay, Master Zhu disclosed that it would take at least 2 days to construct a defense formation if everyone worked tirelessly. Together with the elder, they visited the informant who delivered the Magic Circle Master token to Guan Yu. Regrettably, while en route, the informant encountered the demons by chance. Upon utilizing the token delivered by the courier, a psychic link is established with Guan Yu. Master Zhu and the other junior members of the sect appeal to the elder to grant them permission to participate in the sect's defense. Although admission to the sect necessitates approval from the sect leader, they are willing to confront the demons prior to obtaining authorization. Zhu promises that they will exert maximum effort. The young women, members of a specific religious order, meticulously search their surroundings for any indications of demonic presence. Though Lianyan Kizhu was not the most ideal location for spiritual growth due to the limited spiritual energy, they remained watchful in their pursuit. Leading the group was Jian Yanyan, who seemed to be in charge. Soon, He Gufeng joined them from the Xingyu sect in their endeavor. Utilizing the paper eye spell, their greatest fears were validated. A horde of at least 300 demons was advancing towards them. As the demons neared their sect, the group prepared for an imminent assault. Unexpectedly, the encroaching demons activated a trap that left them both shocked and furious. The Xingyu sect, considered a mere 3rd-level sect, had managed to create Earth-class mountain defense formations and employ Earth-class spells. The demons found this inconceivable. Feng Buho, an ally of the demons, was equally astonished by the Xingyu sect's capabilities. The demon leader expressed his annoyance at Feng's failure to recognize the sect's true strength, which had resulted in considerable casualties within their ranks. The sect members engaged in an intense battle against the demons. While the transformation ability was potent, it came with the drawback of demanding constant spiritual energy expenditure. Fortunately, leaders from other sects, who had taken refuge in Shenyamen, were able to join the conflict without any obstacles. Amidst the battle, a demon suddenly materialized before the elder and morphed into a human form, igniting another confrontation between them. As the battle continued, the elder struck a decisive blow against the demon, slaying him. However, the sword he used splintered into fragments upon impact. Observing this victorious moment, the other's spirits were lifted, encouraging them to persevere. Concurrently, Feng Buho attempted to escape the turmoil but was unexpectedly blocked by a group of 3 sect members. Although Feng initially tried to fight them, the trio interrogated him instead. Feng revealed that his own pupil had been killed by the same group of sect members, resulting in his expulsion from the sect. Desperate to seek justice against the tyrannical leader who had taken control of the Shenyamen sect, Feng pleaded for their help. Ultimately, the trio chose to take Feng as a prisoner. As the protagonist bravely defeated all the demons, he was awarded the esteemed title of Head of the Alliance, earning him the much-coveted mysterious furniture gacha item from the household system. While the group discussed Feng's escape attempts, they were astonished when the trio who had earlier captured him arrived, presenting Feng to them, bound and unable to escape. Thankfully, Jian Yongyang and her 2 sect brothers appeared just in time, aiding their fellow members. Upon seeing Yigu Feng, the elder man instantly identified him as one of the characters of Destiny from the original game. It was clear that Yigu Feng possessed exceptional talents, especially in spell formation and artifact creation, as demonstrated by his swift ascension to the position of Xingyu sect disciple within a few short years. Yet, as Destiny would dictate, the system suddenly identified another character of Destiny, and it happened to be Jian herself. 15 minutes prior, Sister Jian is questioned about whether the benefactor is being truthful. She responds that his words shouldn't be fully trusted, but they shouldn't be completely dismissed either. After all, this creature is renowned for its fierceness and is not much more benevolent than demons. Sister Jian advises everyone to remain alert, and if the beast behaves improperly, they must employ magical weapons against it. The prevailing concern among everyone is how to handle Feng Buho. Simultaneously, Feng pleads for leniency, claiming that he has been ensnared by demonic influences. Out of reverence for the elder, representatives from all sects have convened to meet him. If they are granted permission to witness Feng Buho's execution, all resentments will be resolved. With the senior's help, the Shenyamen sect would no longer be obscure and ridiculed. Subsequently, we see the elder, in the guise of a beast, unveiling the gacha. A wooden tea table emerges for him. The table is crafted from a single piece of spirit wood and possesses heat-regenerating properties, which can be utilized to prepare tea leaves. The leaves, in harmony with the tea table, can be employed to fortify one's mind. The elder, however, can only activate this effect. The elder relishes the brewed tea. There's a knock on the door. It's Guangling. He informs them that Jian is seeking an audience with the elder. Meng Fakyu takes a moment to consider something he had previously neglected. The demonic assault on the Shenyamen sect resulted in the destruction of many buildings. It must have been challenging for Lin, the sect leader, to secure a room for him. Miss Jian is quite perceptive. He invites Jian to enter the room. Upon noticing the spiritual wood table, she feels indignation as it is meant for crafting magical weapons and is not being utilized to its full potential. Meng invites Jian to share some tea with him and inquires about the topic she wished to discuss. She presents him with a token that, despite its antiquated appearance, shows no signs of aura fluctuations, making it a mundane item. Upon seeing the token, the elder instantly identifies it as the Order of the Union of the Immortals. This object serves as the key to the dungeon, and when he touches it, the dungeon's location is marked on a map. In the meantime, Fenian arrives and shares news of unusual occurrences in the southwest region of the sect. Lin, the sect leader, speculates that these events could signify the unveiling of a hidden realm or the emergence of a spiritual treasure. The elder informs Fen of the dungeon key and the corresponding mark on the map. Grateful for the elder's assistance, Jian uncovers the secret of the Order of the Union of the Immortals and humbly refrains from taking credit for it. The elder, as usual, never fails to inspire awe in those around him. Fei believes the ambience isn't quite suitable for enjoying tea. Meng expresses gratitude to Jian for the confidence placed in him and proposes to accompany Fei into the mystical domain. All parties consent to this arrangement. This enables the elder to discreetly monitor their actions. Should any situation arise, his unforeseen presence will surely catch them off guard. Jian and Fei deduce that Meng would keep a watchful eye on them regardless. The elder departs, allowing the girls to savor their tea as he sets out to create a map. With the initial taste, the tea infuses the girls with a spiritual vigor that immediately sharpens their minds. Simultaneously, Master Zhu assesses the spell for its appropriateness. Yigu Feng approaches and greets them. Recognized as an array pavilion prodigy in his youth, Yigu Feng joined the Xingai sect, a bright future laid before him. Yigu Feng inquires if Master Zhu is responsible for crafting the mountain's protective formation. Zhu confirms, acknowledging Elder's assistance. Yigu Feng suggests that by participating in the mid-rank spell formation's creation, Master Zhu must have advanced his cultivation. Coincidentally, Egu Feng has been grappling with a new spell, struggling to comprehend it, and hopes to seek Master Zhu's guidance. Zhu wonders if Egu Feng's intention is to embarrass him as part of a secret cult. Concurrently, Egu Feng etches a spell onto the grass, requesting Zhu's assistance while examining his abilities. Guan approaches and utters, "Module." In that instant, Zhu grasps everything, for through the teachings of the elder, he perceives the formation from an entirely different perspective. Egu Feng attempts to erase the formation, but Zhu intervenes, stating he has a few rudimentary ideas to contribute. In the meantime, Giant and Fei descend the stairs. From a distance, they spot Zhu and observe the unfolding events. Engrossed in the runes, Egu Feng has decided to enhance the spell but intentionally left it incomplete. It needs 8 additional runes and 4 improvements. However, Zhu altered the position of 4 runes and even erased 1. Egu Feng is astonished at the clarity Master Zhu's mind has achieved over the years, though the drawn spell has yet to produce the intended effect. An assistant arrives, delivering the plant ash Master Zhu requested. Zhu incorporates the ash into the spell, and it succeeds. Egu Feng is astounded, as the outcome surpasses his enhanced version. Plant ash possesses fire and earth properties, with a minor residual attribute of wood. This not only harmonizes the array's overall properties but also reduces material costs. Guan admits she initially intended to shift 5 runes and add 2 more but hadn't anticipated Master Zhu's modifications to be more concise. Egu Feng is left doubly shocked by what he has witnessed. Regrettably, Master Yi initially aimed to provoke but has learned his lesson, as the Shenyamen sect, teeming with hidden dragons and tigers, should never be underestimated. Observing the scene, Giant advises Yi to remain silent. Meng believes that Giant is the chief disciple, while Egu Feng held that position during his tenure. The elder recommends that Giant stay within the sect to recuperate, so he can proceed to the dungeon the following day. Egu Feng is bewildered, disliking the idea that the Xingyu sect should revere a demonic beast. Giant requests silence, asserting that the elder is beyond their comprehension. Giant retreats to his room for cultivation. After consuming 2 cups of tea, the spiritual Kai stored in his danshan has reached capacity. It seems as though his divine consciousness has refined, significantly enhancing concentration and perception. At that moment, a spiritual breakthrough emanates from Giant's room. The following day, Giant expresses gratitude to the elder and his friends for the care they provided during the past few days. The elder insists that no thanks are needed, but instead invites Giant to join him for tea on the mountain after the secret realm adventure. The tea the elder offers is abundant in spiritual energy, a rare opportunity difficult to find elsewhere. Only someone with an inconceivable level of cultivation like the elder can freely savor this tea without consequence. If she were to indulge and consume 2 more cups, the repercussions could be severe. Meng informs Feng that he will leave her be, but if any trouble arises, she should contact him directly. The scene transitions to Kizhu Mountain, home of the Lionian sect. Other sect members are also on the hunt for the elusive secret realm. One such individual is Master Zhang Ju from the Liangyan Kizhu sect. Concurrently, the secret realm's location is discovered, yet its whereabouts remain unknown. A delay of several days attracts practitioners from more distant sects. The Wang Jianan sect, a formidable 5th-grade sect, makes its presence known. An unidentified monk emerges from the foliage, and a confrontation unfolds. The monk claims that the sect members will prove useful, as these minions will aid in locating the secret realm's entrance. The competition intensifies. One of the sects considers withdrawing to avoid the escalating conflict, but the monk thwarts their escape, obstructing the path with a fiery breath. A sect member calls out to Brother Tan, reporting that he spotted 2 men and 2 women, seemingly young disciples from an unidentified school. In their possession is a map. The search party sets off to find the mysterious quartet. Jian remarks that the elder mentioned the Union of Immortals ruins were secret realms left behind by powerful entities from the past. He wonders what treasures they might uncover. At this point, the other sect members arrive and encircle our protagonists. An unfamiliar monk confronts them, requesting to borrow their map. They continue on their path, ignoring the monk's command to halt. One of the heroines challenges if there are any courageous individuals truly willing to oppose the Xingyu sect and the Shenyamen sect. The crowd is perplexed, as the Shenyamen sect is unknown to them. At this moment, fellow Taoists rush in, imploring Jian to allow them to accompany the group to witness the secret realm. Jian grants their request, and as a result, the majority of the sect members embark on the journey with our heroes. From a distance, the elder observes their progress. He has mastered the ability to fly through the Qiankai form. The heroes discover a dungeon and, heeding the elder's guidance, place a token on the stone doors. The doors swing open. Standing at the dungeon's entrance, our heroes pause. Jian urges everyone to step back 10 paces, sensing an impending danger. A luminous burst of energy shoots out from the cave. It turns out to be a fearsome sword Kai, and had Jian not issued the warning, the entire group would have perished. The spiritual tea provided by the elder not only facilitated her breakthrough but also heightened her spiritual awareness. This suggests that the elder recognized her initial inability to enter the secret realm. Although the elder maintained a calm facade, he was, in reality, discreetly assisting her. Jian and Bu offer a bow in the direction of the Shenyamen sect. The sword Kai was incredibly potent, suggesting that it could be a barrier protecting the secret realm's entrance. An enigmatic master emerges, Luo Quan, a sword practitioner from the Qingyuan Zi sect. Originally, he trained for a century, but his cultivation advanced sluggishly. Fortuitously, he acquired 2 swords, Qingyuan and Zi, which propelled him into becoming a formidable force in the cultivation world. The Wang Jianan sect once invited him to join as an elder, but he declined. Now, he has arrived in pursuit of the secret realm. Although Luo Quan cannot directly challenge the Xingyu sect, if a few people perish within the secret realm, no one would be the wiser. As the sect members approach the cave, the sword Kai bursts forth once again. Luo Quan intercepts the energy path using his swords. As our heroes venture deeper into the dungeon, the challenges intensify. The sword Kai emanating from the stalagmites feels like a duel with an exceptional sword practitioner. Staying united is crucial. Sadly, the skills of some sect members are subpar, preventing them from capitalizing on this opportunity. Luo Quan arrives with other sect members, proposing to add some excitement. A skirmish ensues between Luo, Jian, and Bu. Our heroines defend themselves tenaciously, and Jian realizes that the old man aims to use the sword formation to eliminate them. The Taoists come to their aid, asserting that the alliance leader has repeatedly helped them despite past conflicts. They refuse to let him down, even if it costs them their lives. One of the sect members mocks them but receives a direct sword strike. Taoist is astonished, as he was not controlling the sword. An unseen force pressed on the hilt, leaving it beyond his control. The formidable power of the dungeon aids our heroes in striking down their adversaries with their swords. A creature resembling a lion and a saber-toothed tiger materializes, cloaked in a mysterious guise. Lo, the ferocious Kai, his sword now missing, takes Quan aback. The fact that someone could steal his sword without him noticing implies that they are much stronger than him. He had been careless and needs to flee the area. Bully to the weak, coward to the strong was the moniker assigned to Lo by his peers. With weak cultivation in his youth and countless disdainful glances, his luck changed dramatically in his later years, warping his character. He relished taking from the weak, and every robbery he committed ended with the victim's death. Lo inquires if Meng is the elder of the group. Meng confirms this, but as Lo hurls an explosive talisman, Meng deflects it effortlessly with a wave of his hand. The blast sends Lo crashing into the rocks. After days of tea consumption, the elder's cultivation has improved. The explosive talisman is known as the Amulet of Shade Care. Junior suddenly appears, taken hostage by Lo. Lo warns Junior not to tremble, or his sword might accidentally slash his neck. Junior retorts that it's not him shaking, but the sword itself. Utilizing the power of the Z sword, the elder repels Lo. The elder then addresses the young man, revealing that he is the master of this realm, and the 2 swords resemble his former style. If the youth agrees to revere the elder as a mentor, he will teach him the knowledge he has amassed throughout his life. The young man's name is Zhou Xingjian, possessing a natural sword body as his passive skill. He is among the candidates seeking to join the elder's team. The members of the Wang Jianan sect were easily defeated. The sect leader managed to break through the sword formation, seemingly with the hidden assistance of the elder. Since the elder did not reveal himself, it appears he didn't want to be discovered, and it's best not to upset him by exposing his involvement. Brother Yi acknowledges his sister's abilities, but admits she is clearly outmatched by Bu, who has made significant progress as his master Zhu. At this moment, Zhou Xingjian appears, demanding to know who dares to intrude on his domain. Everyone assumes he is the guardian of the realm. Zhou Xingjian states that since they have made it this far into the dungeon, they must possess certain capabilities. He now wants to personally test their strength. A battle commences, with Zhou Xingjian's swordsmanship identical to the previous level, but with several times more power. Could this be the might of the forebear of the sword cultivators? The enhanced sword technique and more than doubled power exemplify the strength of the elder. Meanwhile, the elder has returned to the sect. The main quest is displayed, revealing that the elder has successfully gathered 3 and 4 men into his team. During a conversation between the elder and Zhou Xingjian, it is revealed that Zhou Xingjian had no special abilities in his past life but possessed a rare natural sword body. After decades of wandering, he discovered that sword training was the most suitable path for him. Unfortunately, he realized this too late. Zhou Xingjian had to resort to using burial with the sword for the rest of his life, hoping to find life again. Zhou Xingjian is a time-limited character gacha in the game. The elder spent a considerable amount of money trying to obtain him but never succeeded, which almost led him to quit the game. However, there was no mention in the official announcement that Zhou Xingjian was the owner of the secret realm of the Order of the Immortals. Thus, the elder was surprised to find him in the dungeon. Meng, being much older than Zhou, states he has come to train the younger generation and to recruit Zhou into his sect. Zhou questions what he can be taught, and the elder asks him to demonstrate his sword techniques. Following the conversation, the shackles are discovered, and a bonding item, the sword, appears. The main quest will be completed once communication with Jian is established. Meng advises Zhou to meet the heroes and engage in friendly sparring, as they have come to the dungeon for training. In his room, Meng feels relieved that Zhou is with the heroes and believes they will be well looked after. The bond is described as the hidden sword in the heart. Additionally, the elder has acquired 2 of Lo Kuan's swords. In the past, the Shenyamen sect was impoverished, with a treasure pavilion that contained no treasures. The pavilion was destroyed during a demon invasion, and due to the difficulty of repair, the work was never started. The Shenyamen sect, a 9th-rank sect, is situated in an area with poor spiritual energy. Higher-ranking sects possess resources such as spiritual plants, pills, animals, mines, formations, and weapons, but the current Shenyamen lack these advantages. To improve their situation, the elder must be assisted in accelerating the sect's development. Master Zhu, after joining the Shenyamen sect, did not anticipate the poor conditions of the sect. The courtyard where Elder Meng lives is only at the level of an outer elder of a larger sect, an environment unworthy of Elder Meng. However, first-class houses are costly and can only be built by experts. As the elder ponders how to improve the sect, a notice arrives stating that Jian has completed the Union of Immortals assignment. Senior appears to be suddenly faced with a problem, but a new feature is unlocked. Many unexplored areas surround the Shenyamen sect, so Elder suggests that Zhu and Ling take a walk and explore. Meanwhile, our heroes, along with Zhou, return from the dungeon. The group is surprised that Zhou has decided to join their sect. Zhou presents them with the treasure from the Secret Kingdom, 2 scrolls containing profound sword intent that even Zhou cannot fully comprehend. Mu and Jian discuss the possibility of someone lurking in the shadows, trying to discover the sect's activities. Ordinary people are always tempted by treasure, and the small Shenyamen sect may struggle to protect such valuable items. The elder asks Bu and Zhou to visit the hidden sword peak to the east of the main sect's peak, where he wants to show them something. He also encourages the rest of the sect members to try their luck in the dungeon again, as he now has access to the dungeon editor feature. Daeon tries to enter the cave, but his level prevents him from progressing. He is returned to the beginning of the cave. The elder discusses a future cultural tourism project for the Shenyamen sect, the Secret Hall of Real Experience. Due to the sect's limited natural resources, it's difficult to obtain large quantities in a short period of time. However, with the new dungeon editor feature, the elder can replicate previously explored secret realms. For other sects, Hidden Sword Peak will serve as a training and testing ground for students who can purchase tickets to access the secret realm safely. Jian asks the elder to return to his sect and discuss the location of the Hidden Sword Cave. As expected, the elder's influence is beginning to have an impact. Zhou inquires whether there is any treasure in their dungeon, but the elder explains that the cave is only for self-realization. Suddenly, an explosion occurs. Master Zhu reports that an intruder got too close and triggered the protective spell guarding the mountain. However, now that the Shenyamen sect is prepared to open for business, there is no need to turn away customers. In the future, they will inevitably attract a diverse range of visitors. The elder demonstrates the power of the sword, and he realizes that the sword technique is superior to the scrolls and he doesn't actually need them. In the following chapter, the story unveils the rapid rise of the Shenyamen sect. Boasting excellent teaching facilities and skilled instructors, this once insignificant 9th-tier sect is now experiencing remarkable growth. Within his own sect, Jian delivers a report on the Shenyamen sect. The leader of Jian's sect is puzzled as to why the elder chose to support such a minor sect in a remote location. Jian explains that Meng has a long-standing connection with the Shenyamen sect, and the local sects struggle to fend off demonic attacks. If the elder abandons them, it would lead to a tragic outcome. Regardless of Meng's past, he is committed to protecting those on the other side. Uncle Lai concurs with Jian and announces that he will oversee the students' training at the Hidden Sword Cave. In the meantime, he will pen a letter to the elder and gather gifts for him. Uncle Lai calls upon Yi Gufeng and inquires about the demonic beast. He reveals that the creature often spends time alone with Jian. Uncle Lai then asks Yi to keep a watchful eye on Jian. Simultaneously, the elder observes Guanlin's training progress. Guanlin is hardworking but has become the primary target due to the demon seed within him. Jian eventually returns to Shenyamen, bearing gifts. He has also prepared a special gift for the elder, a stone containing the demon seed. Jian shares that the stone once belonged to her mother and appears to possess peculiar abilities. Consequently, she decides to present it to the senior. Senior remembers that the game's Xingyu sect was sealed precisely due to the stone, as it was believed to tamper with practitioners' minds, gradually demonizing them. However, there was no information about the stone's origin or Jian's existence. Could it be that Jian was demonized by this stone and then covertly eliminated by her own sect? The subject of their bond is unveiled. The elder explains that within this crystal lies the key to Jian's future connection. Unexpectedly, the bond with Jian is successfully established, unlocking a new feature, the task exchange system. The task points earned can be exchanged for corresponding treasure chests, which, when opened, randomly bestow various rewards. The crystal's demon seed has been converted into 2,000 task points. Man opts to open 10 chests consecutively. Among all the useful items, a high-level wave energy book is obtained. The elder opens the book and acquires the Law of Divine Farming, which enhances life skills and planting abilities. However, the elder is not pleased, as the region's spiritual energy concentration is too low for anything substantial to grow. The elder summons Guanling and extracts the demon seed from him, claiming it for himself. Dissolving the seed grants him an additional 2,000 points, but it is still not enough. A sect in honor of a demonic beast is preparing a banquet. However, chaos erupts when one of the sect members announces that trouble has struck. 2 refugees with demon seeds in their bodies have suddenly become demonized and broken the protective spell. Master Yi arrives just in time, slaying the demon with a swift sword stroke. Curiosity arises as to why so many refugees have gathered in the city. One refugee explains that numerous villages and towns are defenseless against the recent surge of demon attacks. The city is the safest place in the area, thanks to the Array Pavilion. Some refugees have encountered demons, and several now carry the demon seed within them. The pavilion was initially intended as a means of isolation. The refugees are then confronted by the townspeople. Brother Yi decides to bring the refugees to the Shen'amen sect. Jian is displeased by this development, as the action was not coordinated with the sect. Brother Yi has considered the potential consequences. If the sect refuses to accept these people, it would be scorned by the entire world. On the other hand, if the sect agrees to shelter them, the potential demon seeds could create significant problems. The elder intervenes, declaring that he will accept all refugees who harbor a demon seed inside them. The sect members instruct the refugees to line up for registration. Brother Yi is skeptical of Main's actions, suspecting him of having ulterior motives. Jian is displeased by these suspicions. A refugee woman approaches Yi to inquire about her daughter's whereabouts. He is unsure but suggests seeking information from the demonic beast. Ultimately, the daughter is located. Named Xiao, she tells her mother that the mountain elder assisted them in eliminating the demon seed. In the meantime, the elder resumes opening the chests. The refugees lack high-quality seeds like guans, resulting in a deduction of 1,000 points each. Nonetheless, there are sufficient points for 24 chests. After opening them, no items are found that are good enough for Meng, but an achievement is unlocked called such as the Cruel Will of Heaven. As a reward, a random high-skill level book is obtained. Meng opens the book and acquires the secret technique of the Celestials, a cultivation method for reaching the immortal class. The elder gathers the leaders around a table and presents them with 2 books, The Law of Divine Farming, which focuses on cultivating spiritual plants, and The Secret Technique of the Heavenly Lights, a confidential cultivation method. Addressing Elder Lin, the elder remarks that his time is nearing its end. Elder Lin expresses his desire to see the sect prosper, but laments that he will not have the opportunity. Meng explains that the immortal class technique depends on the power of the stars and the moon for cultivation. If Lin trains diligently, he can break through his impasse. Such a technique is typically only found in first or second class sects. As a system, there is no need for Lin to practice it, as it will automatically be added to the editor when his character commences training. 5 days later, all the refugees have settled in the Zunquin settlement. When demons attacked, everyone fled the village, and now all the refugees reside there. Sect disciples are stationed in the village to protect the settlers, and a protective spell has been cast around the village. Brother Yi informs Jian that everyone has completed their training and it is time to return to their sect. Jian responds that she will remain in Shen'amen for a while. Brother Yi disapproves, questioning how she can behave on the same level as ordinary mortals. Jian is unhappy with his remark and retorts that Elder Meng sees no distinction between mortals and immortals, and if the people of the Shen'amen sect can manage it, so can she. Guan Yu approaches Jian for assistance when suddenly, the formation activates. Guan disrupts the spell with a swift movement of his foot. Jian instructs Brother Yi to return to his sect and warns him that she will ask the Shen'amen sect to ban him from re-entry. Furious, Brother Yi steps on the spell formation and gets electrocuted. This particular formation was a simplified version of Yuanlei's 9 formation transformations, but practical tasks remain necessary. The elder inquires if Zhu has published the assignments he assigned to them. Zhu responds that Elder Lin has offered a reward to anyone who can provide information on the new order of the Union of Immortals. At this moment, one of the sect members brings young Xiao to the elder. Xiao reveals that she possesses a token that might be what they are seeking. The elder expresses gratitude, as the token belongs to the Order of the Immortals. A new mission emerges in the Snowbone Mountains. The elder must pursue them in order to replicate the dungeon. As compensation, Xiao asks the elder to locate her father's remains and ensure they are properly buried. Meng remembers that in the Snowbone Mountains, the leader was a small demon fox. Upon completing the level, a female amulet and a secret book would be awarded. This time, he decides to take 3 girls with him. Lin considers the elder's room too cramped and resolves to change it as soon as possible. Before leaving, the benefactor inquires if they have gained anything from their recent practice. Everyone admits that they are progressing too slowly. Bu's talent only manifests during actual combat, while Zhao has a unique talent, slow in everything except swordsmanship. Meng asks the elders about their concerns, and they respond that they are still trying to understand him. They drink tea to alleviate the awkwardness and absorb spiritual energy. By practicing the secret celestial technique continuously, they have managed to break free from their stagnation. Utilizing tea as an aid, they achieve a breakthrough, which proves to be the most effective method for practicing the high-level technique. Meanwhile, Brother Yi is in the higher union. Meng informs him that the elders have had a breakthrough and are now prepared. Guanling excitedly shares his discovery. Mixing spiritual animal manure with soil and watering it with magic can transform it into spiritual soil within 10 years. They need to find the dung of a spiritual animal, and the demonic beast happens to be a type of spiritual animal. Ning praises Guan and promises to search for a pair of spiritual animals for him, which can be found in the Snowbone Mountains. Snowbone Mountain presents a challenging environment, teeming with numerous demonic beasts. To overcome the difficulties and trials, everyone must utilize their full abilities. The mountain wind proves to be so intense that whole-body cultivation is necessary to withstand it. Fortunately, Elder had prompted Guan Yu to place spells on her clothes beforehand. However, the magical array depletes rapidly, requiring her to stop and recharge it periodically. This situation is unusual and unlike the game. The group spots a cave and decides to enter for a brief respite. According to the game's settings, demonic monsters should occasionally attack uninvited guests once they climb the mountain, but their journey has been surprisingly peaceful. Inside the cave, they encounter demonized bears. Boo launches an attack, but the Elder realizes that the demonic beasts are not weak. What has happened to Snowbone Mountain? Ning discovers a demon fox sleeping behind a block of ice, curled up in a ball. Meanwhile, Boo slays the demon beasts by decapitating them. While resting and recovering, the cultivation speed proves astonishing. The demon fox awakens and is puzzled by their presence. The fox has lost something that is now in the Elder's possession. In exchange, the Elder asks the fox to explain what occurred on Snowbone Mountain. It is revealed that General Bear, who resided in the Snow Dragon Valley territory, has defected to the side of the demons. He led his troops to the mountain, attempting to usurp the throne and seize power. The young mistress managed to escape the main hall through a secret passage, accompanied by her loyal soldiers. One of his subordinates that everyone fled hastily informs General Bear. He orders a thorough search of the entire mountain to find the Bio Fragment. The Bio Fragment is an ancient secret of the Fox Demon clan, preserved by their previous masters. The chief of the Fox clan distributes 5 fragments among the foxes, with only one being the genuine fragment. This means that the others must draw attention away from themselves, while the holder of the real fragment must protect it at all costs and deliver it to the mistress. Returning to the main characters, the fox tells the Elder that he wants to leave the mountain. Someone discovers them. Elder says that the fox holds a fake Bio Fragment, deduced from his tech editor skill. At this point, Elder King, the Elder of the Fox Demons, tries to locate the cave but is interrupted by General Bear and his soldiers. While attempting to escape, Elder King is struck by a bear. The bear interrogates the fox, asking if the ancient ancestor's inner core is hidden in the cave. After all, obtaining it would grant access to the lineage of ancient monsters, allowing perfection according to the Bio Fragment. General Bear learned about this by having one of his spies follow the fox. The revelation of the truth left the fox reeling. In the initial course of events, Elder King was indeed the one responsible for the chaos. The sole distinction was that there were no demonized beasts staging a rebellion. Our protagonists encounter General Bear and his troops. He commands them to execute the offenders. Elder King instructs the fox to escort him to safety, but Ming argues that his deceitful actions have forfeited any right to escape. A sudden blast emanates from the cave, and a centaur-like demon materializes as if from thin air. This fearsome creature is Tao Yuan, the supposed inner core of the ancient ancestor of monsters. In reality, it is the sealed Tao Yuan, and the likelihood of a catastrophic monster core reaction is alarmingly high. In the game's storyline, Elder King unleashed Tao Yuan. The unfortunate bear merely served as a pawn to cover King's tracks. With General Bear having met his demise, his soldiers flee the scene. Tao Yuan stands as the ultimate adversary in the side quest titled Mountains of Snowbone. Tao Yuan catches a whiff of the demon fox and desires to devour him. Meng directs the girls to eliminate him. However, the task is not so straightforward, as Tao Yuan proves to be more formidable than his older brother Zhou. The trio faces an arduous battle ahead. Tao underestimates Meng, who has managed to manipulate human practitioners to his advantage. Meng tasks the demon fox with retrieving 3 snow crystal pearls for him. Tao threatens to annihilate Meng's entire team, launching an assault on Boo, who manages to deflect the strike. She produces a peculiar aura to repel his attack just before making contact. While Boo's hefty sword isn't classified as a magical weapon, she must carefully control her stance and Kai to minimize the sword's loss. Most practitioners struggle with this, but Feng Yin's qualities have granted her exceptional reflexes and Kai sensitivity. Jian is the most powerful of the 3, but internal conflict within her sect hindered her focus on practice. Once she joined Shen Amen, her progress accelerated. Tao targets Jian but becomes ensnared in a magical formation. Guan Yu possesses a remarkable aptitude for spells, even though she began learning them last. She can perceive the entire battlefield as a magical array and offer appropriate support at the right moments. The Elder remarks that due to Tao's lengthy ceiling, his powers have waned, but he will still triumph regardless. Simultaneously, mysterious members of another sect advance towards the Shen Amen sect. They argue that if the Shenyamen sect refuses to hand over a demonic beast, they will be labeled as demons, and all the righteous in the world will subject them to punishment. The sect's gatekeeper, Shenyamen, inquires about the purpose of the visitors' arrival. The sectarians claim to be emissaries from the higher union, visiting to investigate specific matters. They display their badges and are invited inside, where Lingu and Zhu Bohong welcome the two ambassadors. The ambassadors question why the elders greet them instead of the head of the sect. Lin explains that the head has left for training and has yet to return. The tone of the ambassadors' voices suggests they have come with ill intentions. They are invited inside for a discussion and served tea, but they remain unsatisfied. One ambassador reveals they have received credible information about a demonic beast hiding within the sect. Zhu and Lin deny this, but the ambassadors insist that the beast is known as Elder Meng, originally a young hunky beast. Elder Meng is a highly respected elder within the sect. Hand over the ambassadors demand Elder Meng to them for further action by the higher union. Elder Lin counters that their information is false, as Meng openly and honorably aids both humans and demons in combating threats and maintaining stability. One ambassador insists on acquiring the beast, threatening that if they refuse, the sect will be deemed demonic and face punishment. Concurrently, the trio of girls starts to gain the upper hand against the centaur. It is at this moment that the demonic spell activates. Abruptly, a new mission arises for Meng, gathering intelligence on the devil's schemes and uncovering their true motives. Our protagonists, ensnared, are at a loss as to what is transpiring. Just then, their adversaries appear and further confine them. Bu recalls seeing one of these foes the night before her initial encounter with Elder. The following morning, Elder Feng reveals that he has captured the spirit beast and advises close monitoring. It has always been intriguing how Elder Feng managed to apprehend a Qianzi cub with his level of cultivation. It now appears that, like General Bear, he has been manipulated by demons. A principal demon declares his objective to seize the two demonic beasts, promising to spare the others if they capitulate. Huan Bi believes he can attempt to dismantle the spell. Tao struggles to escape the trap, but to no avail. It becomes evident that a group of demons fears Tao's might. They lie in wait, allowing their foes to exhaust one another, intending to seize the spoils thereafter. The blame rests on the young Qianzi, if not for him. In that instant, Meng morphs into a human. He scrutinizes the spell, identifies its vulnerabilities, and strikes the barrier encasing our heroes. Meng, having escaped the trap, eliminates all the demons. As he attacks the primary demon, it starts speaking in its own language, which Meng comprehends since it's a system. The demon pleads for assistance, anticipating a direct connection. Pushing Meng back with a shockwave, a formidable demon is summoned through a conjuration spell. This demon is Lai Ba, one of the 9 emperors of the demon race, and Meng's current perception of him represents only a fragment of his true form. The elder inquires about the reason for capturing the demonic beasts. Receiving an evasive reply, the answer will come later. Meng rushes towards the demon and inflicts a wound on his shoulder. The demon is baffled by Meng's success. Meng hadn't initially planned to wield the first sword, but Lai Ba's unexpected appearance forced his hand. This may have led Lai Ba to underestimate Meng's capabilities. Pondering Meng's peculiar strength, Lai Ba acknowledges that Meng indeed managed to injure his physical form. Meng questions Lai Ba's ultimate goal once more, but the only response is a surge of a spell. The elder employs Master Zhou's sword technique, integrating the power of the secret celestial technique. As the spells clash, Meng declares that Lai may perish from such a strike. Nevertheless, the mission remains unaltered. Lai Ba exclaims in disbelief, questioning how he could lose to the dregs of the human realm. He starts reciting an incantation, "With your flesh and blood, create my body, with your soul, open my way." The elder's assault is thwarted. An impromptu descent can only achieve this much. Lai Ba feels weaker than his true strength, by at least half. Suddenly, magic strikes Lai Ba's jaw. The elder is astonished that Lai Ba isn't dead after receiving a sword blow from him. The elder deduces that this demon cannot manifest directly in the human world, which likely makes the demonic beast a necessary vessel within the human realm. One of the 4 mission objectives is accomplished. Meng recognizes that he must analyze the assignment independently. Lai Ba attempts to strike Meng as the combat level exceeds that of most first-class masters. Engrossed in the fight, Lai Ba neglects to control the spell, allowing Tao to counterattack. An explosion ensues, granting Lai Ba an opportunity to escape. Lai Ba's possessions are revealed, and he remains perplexed as to the origin of such a being in the human world. Abruptly, the narrative shifts. It is revealed that the demon seed has taken over Tao's body. Jian clarifies that the demon seed is an indicator of demonic corruption, capable of causing demonization. Tao is determined to prevent this and attempts to extract the seed from himself. However, Meng, now in the form of a cub, flies up and strikes Tao's arm, assuring him that he will handle the seed. Meng extracts the seed, earning 5,000 points. Tao, believing he has little time left to live, decides to offer a final gift. He transforms into a sword of heavenly rank. The elder corrects him, stating it is an earthly rank, but it can be enhanced by absorbing other treasures. Since Tao desires to be a sword, his wishes will be respected. At this moment, the heroes notice that the demon fox has fled. Soon after, Elder receives a message from Joe, informing him that Elder Zhu has been assaulted by the Higher Alliance. The Elder questions whether the Higher Alliance is not a coalition of righteous cultivators and why they would attack Elder Zhu. Joe conveys the Union's assertion that they are following the path of the demons. Concurrently, Master Zhu defends himself against the sectarians. Like a turtle in its shell, his defense remains impenetrable even after numerous attempts. He gathers the demon's ashes using a formation and devises a plan. A flashback shows Zhu telling the elder that he will take care of Zhao, as she wishes to retrieve her father's bones for a proper burial. He inquires about the bodies of the demonized refugees, learning that they were dragged to the woods south of the city and burned. The formation takes place just as the High Alliance launches their attack on Shuya. The Alliance accuses the Shenyamen of plundering the secret realm and murdering several of their disciples, which warrants punishment for the sect. A High Union sectarian asserts that Shenyamen has succumbed to the demonic beast spell and has become an enemy of all that is righteous. If they don't eliminate them today, heaven will unleash its wrath. The ashes are highly unstable. If the spell breaks, they will vanish along with Zhu. Since he promised Sayo he would return the bones, he cannot disappoint her. Zhu sends a message requesting assistance from the sect. The Alliance attempts to thwart Zhu. It's uncertain how long he can endure, but luckily, Elder Meng has taught him to wield 2 spells simultaneously. One of the Union Wanderers employs the lightning of the 9 heavens to purify the demonic aura and cleanse the world. The lightning pierces the dome, aiming to destroy the spell on the ground first. Just then, our heroes arrive. The Elder casts the incapacitated Lu Kai to the ground. The other Alliance members are puzzled by what just happened. He was there just a moment ago. The others ask Zhu how he is doing. With the Elder present, he knows he'll be fine. Zhu notices that Bu has changed her sword. Everyone gazes at the sword as it appears menacing. Tao reassures them that it is not an evil sword. One of the Union representatives inquires about Meng's identity. Since they have come to capture the demonic beast, Meng stands before them as the very creature in question. The Elder questions what he has done to cause such a commotion, with everyone attempting to kill those present. The others respond that Meng has stolen from the secret kingdom and killed several of Wang Jianhen's disciples, and they seek justice. Jian counters that they were the first to discover the secret realm, and it was the Union's disciples who tried to kill them. The Union wonders if the demonic beast has deceived the head disciple of Xingyu. There is no point in continuing the conversation, as the Alliance refuses to reason logically. If they want the beast, they can attempt to take him away. The futile discussion drags on, and Meng, after asking Zhu about the progress of gathering the ashes and receiving confirmation that everything is ready, tells everyone that they are leaving. Jian is shocked. She didn't expect the Elder to take no action. The remaining Union sectarians feel the pressure of the demonic beast's presence, which is so terrifying that they can barely breathe. They watch our heroes with a wary gaze. We are shown the secret realm of the Union of Immortals, created on Snowbone Mountain. The Elder remarks that despite acquiring a new realm and a sword, he received no other rewards and the spiritual beast was not found. Due to the negative reputation propagated by the Higher Union, the Shenyamen sect has been labeled a demonic sect. This has resulted in no sects, other than the closest allies, coming to train in recent times. To put it plainly, the Shenyamen sect is still relatively unknown and not very powerful, which makes them vulnerable to suppression by others. Suddenly, a mysterious creature appears in the sky. It is a demonic creature called Dead Kun, created by the game developer's head as a joke. The 4th master of the Xuan Yuan Pavilion, Zhu Gongmen, arrives to visit Elder Meng of the Shen sect and everyone else. However, it is not so much a visit as a display of power. The Xuan Yuan Pavilion is a sect that gained fame 30 years ago, boasting 4 pavilion masters with exceptional abilities. Yet, they have a history of bullying the weak and killing innocents, leading them to be labeled a demonic sect. In terms of power, they are even stronger than the Xinyu sect is. Zhou meets the visitor at the sect's gate, inquiring about the purpose of his visit. The enigmatic visitor replies that he has heard about a renowned hermit in the Shenyamen sect and wishes to meet and learn from him. He has traveled a great distance to pay his respects and heed the teachings of this elder. Zhou informs the visitor that the elder has no interest in meeting him, but the visitor insists he should not jump to conclusions, as he has a gift for Meng, the aura of heavenly rank Kai. The visitor presents the tokens as a small gesture of gratitude. If the elder agrees, the Xuan Yuan Pavilion would like to form an alliance with the Shen sect and collaborate in the future. Zhou responds that they do not intend to cooperate with a demonic sect. However, the visitor retorts that the Shen sect is also classified as demonic, and it would be in their best interest to seek friends rather than enemies. Meng communicates with Zhou through their connection, stating that his demonic being will remain in the sect and the visitor should leave. The Wanderer, impressed by the elder's defiance against the righteous using only his powers, warns that he may be underestimating the cultivators of this world. He explains that Dead Kun is a species born in chaos, with its body containing the power of decay. Even a heavenly ranked defense spell would struggle to hold up against its might. The demonic beast proceeds to attempt to destroy the mountain defense formation. The wanderer offers his assistance in finding better spells if the Shen sect agrees to cooperate with his pavilion. Dead Kun continues trying to break the spell, but Meng intervenes and stomps his foot on the whale, causing it to transform into a small creature. The wanderer, realizing that the Shen sect has no interest in negotiating, calls off Dead Kun and announces their departure. Dead Kun is placed in a small fountain within the Shen sect. Joe approaches the elder to discuss the tokens, but the elder expresses his suspicion that something is amiss. He explains that tokens in the game are special props without classes or ranks, indicating that there is likely something wrong with the tokens they received. The story then shifts to an achievement called Doing Both Good and Evil, for which a mysterious furniture gacha was received as a reward. It contained an unidentified pond, but the recognition skill had not been unlocked. Meanwhile, Jian seeks a meeting with the elder. She informs him that, under the orders of the head of the Xingyu sect, she has brought some students with her to the secret realm of Snowbone Mountain for training. The elder is surprised that the Xingyu sect still wants to deal with them since the Shen sect has been labeled as a demonic sect. The elder of the Xingyu sect reassures Jian, saying that he plans to go to the higher union and appeal the charges against the Shen sect. Despite what others say, the Xingyu sect remains grateful to the Shen sect for their help and Meng's guidance, which has led to Jian achieving superior results. Students who train with the Shen sect also return with considerable success. This time, Jian needs to select a few more students for further training and pass on Elder Meng's words. The elder of the Xingyu sect reveals that, as the elder has been collecting Order of the Immortal Alliance tokens, several more of unknown origin have suddenly appeared. These tokens possess the aura of heavenly ranked treasure, causing a struggle among the various sects. However, it was later discovered that the tokens were forged from discarded magical treasures and would become useless scrap in 10 days. The identity of the person responsible for this remains unknown, and they are still investigating. Another point of discussion is that Guanbi has brought another person into the sect, Nangong Moyan, a common practitioner and well-known master builder. Many buildings in various sects were constructed under his supervision. Nangonggun was brought in to build the Elder Mansion, with the Xingyu sect covering all the expenses. The Elder expresses his gratitude to Jian for their continued friendship. Master Nangong, known for enjoying good food when he visits distant places, is expected not to cause trouble for the Elder. Master Nangong ponders the abundance of spiritual energy at the Elder's dwelling, which is situated far from the rest of the sect. The Elder proposes that they take a breather and indulge in a small meal. A sect member approaches Nangong and unveils the contents of a container, fruit-infused ice. The elder recounts his discovery of the pond's delectable water and the fortunate proximity to snow-capped mountains for sourcing ice. He has concocted a variety of flavors. Inherently, Nangong possesses a penchant for food. Numerous sects have attempted to entice him with offerings of spiritual fruits, elixirs of immortality, and the like. In contrast, the flavored ice, though intriguingly inventive, is merely a mundane treat. Nangong's attention is drawn to Tao's sword, and he questions its ability to communicate. Shen remains an enigmatic place to him, so he chooses to stay for several days. As night descends, something peculiar transpires. Our protagonist's cultivation diminishes. Simultaneously, an unexpected event occurs within Nangong's quarters. A flashback reveals a discussion between Moyan and the Elder. The Elder explains that due to Moyan's insatiable appetite for exotic and immortal treasures, he has attained an enviable level of cultivation. However, his foundation remains unsteady, which could be perilous if anything goes awry. The Elder is identified as Dr. Sun. Nangong inquires if this instability might threaten his life. Dr. Sun responds that although Nangong's internal aura appears mixed, it is gradually forming a delicate balance, so caution is necessary. Nangong's body displays resistance to the aura, with some dissipating due to a faint coldness. Nangong later realizes that almost all the aura within him has vanished, yet a frigid sensation lingers in his kaisi. He wonders if the ice cream could be the cause. He seeks answers from the Elder, but as he nears the residence, he encounters other people. Guan informs him that the Elder has invited everyone inside. The previous night, a vision manifested in the sky, and many individuals experienced a sudden drop in cultivation levels. The younger generation, unsure of the cause, turns to the Elder for guidance. The Elder, already aware of the issue, directs them to a stone pillar he has recently crafted. Upon touching it, Bu's level is revealed 37. It appears that the cosmic laws governing cultivation have shifted, rendering the old methods obsolete. The spiritual pillar now evaluates cultivation levels based on the new laws. Starting from level 1, every 10th level signifies a step, with mortals residing at level 0. Currently, there is no discernible upper limit to cultivation. The Elder is indeed capable of discerning the fluctuations in the heavenly Tao and possesses extraordinary treasures. The Elder's origins are truly unfathomable. Due to the Elder's protection, Nangong finds himself at the threshold of his residence. It turns out that yesterday's ice cream was a crucial lifeline for him. Nangong expresses gratitude to the Elder for saving his life and requests to join the Shen sect. Yang is instructed by a messenger to return to her sect immediately. She explains that the sect Elder used a sound transmission stone to summon Jian back, and she must make her escape. At the Xingyu sect, the sect elder receives a message from the Alliance. The decline in everyone's cultivation level was due to a shift in the Celestial Tao's rules. On the night of the Heavenly Vision, a miracle suddenly appeared among the three major sects. For a brief instant, a revelation emerged, revealing everything. Following the transformation of heaven and earth, the realm of cultivation also altered. The miracle was a stone pillar capable of assessing a cultivator's level. However, the inscriptions on the pillar are peculiar, only comprehensible to those who have witnessed the revelation. The Heavenly Tao intends to compel the three sects to establish new regulations. Eventually, the three eminent sects will permit disciples from other sects to undergo testing, though it will not be a simple process. Being accepted into a top-tier sect is, in itself, an indication of prowess. The sect leader inquires about Jian's thoughts. Jian responds that she may have encountered the pillar directly, for when she touched it, mysterious text and numerals appeared. She mentions that the Shen sect possesses a similar pillar. The elder refers to this new realm of separation as the spirit level. Thanks to Meng, Jian achieves exceptional results. The sect leader requests Jian's permission to meet the elder personally. The head of the Xingyu sect personally visits Shen and is greeted by Bu, Zhu, and Lin. Apologizing for his rushed arrival and lack of gifts, the sect leader presents something that may interest Bu, spiritual animals known as water cloud deer. Once tamed, these deer can serve as riding animals. Capturing the two reindeer required 6 months of diligent effort, and they have always held a special place in the master's heart. Jian is surprised by the generous gesture. However, the deer seem unhappy living within the Shen sect. As they attempt to leave the throne room, Tao's sword fiercely tries to prevent their departure. This misunderstanding occurs due to Old Huang's failure to explain everything in advance. Lu proceeds to show Old Man Huang around the territory and its assets. Upon reaching the pillar, Jian informs Huang that all the disciples have passed the test. As they draw nearer to the pillar, a leaderboard becomes visible. Crafted by Nangan at the elder's request, it allows everyone to clearly gauge his or her abilities and progress. Regardless of one's skill, there will always be someone superior. The true essence of practice lies in constantly surpassing oneself. With the introduction of competition, the frequency of visits to the secret chamber dramatically increases. While opening chests, Meng finds nothing of value, which sends him into a frenzy. Master Huang from the Xingyu sect is scheduled to visit him today, but Guang reports that the master briefly stood at the threshold before suddenly remembering urgent business. He apologized and departed. The scene shifts to Huang returning to his sect, witnessing Meng's fury. Traveling through the air in a magical carriage, Huang spots several sectarians from the Xuanyuan sect who appear to be taunting a young boy. It is revealed that the boy forged a token in an attempt to join the Shen sect and meet the eldest. The sectarians inform the boy that the Shen sect is now considered a demonic sect, and there is a bounty for turning in its members. Master Huang intervenes in the conversation and eliminates the sectarians. He informs the boy that he is the elder of the Xingyu sect, which maintains a close relationship with Shen. He offers to transport the boy to the Shen sect, as it is quite distant. Considering the young man's expertise in forging tokens, he could prove useful to the Shen sect. Huang leaves the boy at the sect's gate, revealing that it was all a prank. A flashback reveals a scene in Flame Valley, where Little Dong, a prodigy, creates a heaven-rank magic weapon in a single attempt. However, when used, the weapon instantly becomes ordinary. Despite this setback, Little Dong's talent is commendable. With further training, he is destined to become a genuine gunsmith. The scene shifts to an incident in which bandits invade Flame Valley and murder its leader, seeking heaven-ranked magic weapons. At this moment, Baby Dune, the protagonist who allegedly knows how to forge fake tokens, hides beneath the floor. Now, he finds himself at the threshold of the Shen sect and is invited into the waiting room. He merely intended to sell a few forgeries and cannot truly be considered a master. In the waiting room, Bu, Jian, Lang, and Zhu greet Baby Dune. Bu inquires if he wishes to join the Shen sect, but Dune admits he is a swindler who was caught up in the moment, wanting to create some treasures and make money. He was pursued relentlessly after offending the Xuanyuan sect. Little did he know that the head of the Xingyu sect would personally come to his rescue. At this point, an elder appears and asks if Dune genuinely desires to join the sect. He responds that he would like to, but he considers himself a failure. Ling then tells him that if he joins, he can eventually become a master. Shi Lindong turns out to be a character with a unique backstory. Originally, he was an in-game NPC specializing in enhancing attributes of players' high-level weapons. However, the low success rate meant that only wealthy players sought his services. While some players suspected the development team of intentionally reducing success rates, it was actually due to Dong's luck being a mere 2. He possesses a skill that adds visually appealing effects to players' gear, but the enhancements offer no practical benefits. Dong states that he needs to contemplate the decision to join the sect. The elder responds that if Dong doesn't wish to join now, he could instead complete a task for him. In the meantime, at the Xingyu sect, Hu Yatseng, the head of the Xingyun sect, approaches Huang. Their sects have maintained a subtle rivalry for years without significant escalation. Hu Yatseng brings news of an upcoming competition organized by 3 first-class sects, inviting young disciples from all sects to participate. Those who pass the initial selection can test their cultivation at the pillar, and those who reach the top will receive a heavenly treasure. A Xingyun sect disciple recently took the test and scored 42, a rare achievement among the 3 great clans. The highest cultivation level recorded is 46, held by Yu Yushin from one of the 3 great clans. Huey suggests that Huang send his students for the test, but this cannot be done prematurely due to the Xingyu sect's protection of Shen. Sister Jian and the other disciples return to the sect, and she intends to visit the master. Jian strides into the royal chamber. She recounts how during their last encounter, he had to leave abruptly, and thus did not have a chance to meet and converse with Meng. As a result, she received an exceptional gift intended for Huang. This gift is the ultimate black card, which emanates the aura of a divine treasure. Because of this card, the Xingyu sect will soon become the most esteemed VIP for the Shen sect. This card entitles its holder to free expenses, having been forged by a reclusive blacksmith primarily to signify high standing. In accordance with the elder's wishes, no unique abilities have been incorporated. Utsun seethes with anger. In the bottom right corner of the card, the inscription reads, "Gift from the Heavens." Wang reports that the initial group of sect disciples has completed their trials, and the second batch will soon embark on theirs. Wu King inquires if Jian has passed her test and what her ranking is. She discloses that she is ranked 48. Wu King proceeds to butter up Huang, addressing him as a friend and requesting that he put in a good word for Wu King with Elder Meng. Huang admits that his influence is limited, as Jian and Meng have a closer relationship. And with that, the first volume of I Became a System concludes. If you enjoyed it, please like and subscribe.